I have been studying about this creature for several years. It is quite interesting to find it is less common than the other more well-known creatures. He seems to be similar to the boogeyman lore, where he hides in the shadows, but has a different side to him or her or whatever the hell it is. Apparently, if you see this creature, he takes you straight off the face of the earth, and you are never heard from again. Well, this is true to an extent, but from what I am seeing from my studies, is that he actually turns people into what he is. If it is a female or a male, I'll just refer to him as he for comfort purposes. People around the world have several different names for him. Some have called him Wendigo, Demon, Darkness, or just a plain creature, but he has been recently called a Horrible. Horribles, or his turned victims, have no memory of their past life, just empty shells of what they once were, and always shall be just plain blank slates, made to reproduce what they are. From what I can see of Horribles, they like to hunt during any time of non-visibility, so just not during the night. As long as you can't see, they will try to get you. They also don't just try to kill you. What they have is what appears to be some sort of unidentified disease. This is what they use to turn someone into a Horrible. How they turn someone is quite terrifying in my opinion. They look like normal people at first, excluding when they are hunting or when they are turning someone. When they are about to perform this process, they dislodge their jaw to extraordinary proportions, cover the person's head, and devour the head but do not eat them. The disease they use is normally in gaseous form, but has been seen in liquid and solid forms like food or in pills, to turn the person without them knowing and possibly a whole group. Then they wait hours to see if they were successful. It takes several hours, although an exact time is not known and is thought to be an extremely painful process due to the screaming of the victims. They watch and wait, laughing as the person's skin slowly turns into a sickening orange and becomes covered in coal dust like blotches, all over sections of the head and torso and varying limbs. This is thought to be similar to peeling when you get sunburn or something else. After the turning is done and the person survives, there have been casualties and unsuccessful attempts, then they are basically programmed to breed and turn other humans into Horribles. They wander in cloaks and hide their complexion either to avoid detection or out of embarrassment. They aren't hobbits, so they don't live in caves or anything. They live in everyday homes that me or you would live in, but messier, in a bit more disturbing of a fashion. My room is dirty with clothes, trash, etc., but their rooms, well, entire homes, are decorated with their disease. Black dust in every crack, crevice, and cranny of where they inhabit. Then they just abandon it. I believe this is in hopes of someone taking up the home as a project or rental or whatever and then getting the disease as a result. Now, to combat these things, they don't take much punishment to kill. Simple enough to kill as a human would be, although the disease moves their organs around and combines them into one big machine that requires total burning before dying, so not as simple. Horribles are quite possibly zombies of a different way. Not in the term of infection and disease, although it may be similar, they are more like the old zombies. The voodoo definition of zombie is a dead corpse brought back to do the bidding of their master. Well, the main master, the great horrible as it may seem, is that person or thing. He controls all of them, and the disease acts like a natural remote control, giving him free reign over all of his minions. Everyone in class clapped for Nick. He had worked hard on his essay, and it was an interesting assignment. Nick wasn't the kind of guy to pay very much attention in class to completely get every single detail, but when his teacher mentioned creating an essay on mythical monster, whether it be real or one he just made up, he got interested. Anything he wanted, he could put into this. He spent hours working on it, and it seemed to have paid off. "Good job, Nick," his teacher exclaimed. "You seem to be the one who have taken reign over this assignment." Nick had kept the digital copy and planned on posting it to a website that liked creepy stuff, though he had not found one yet. He heard something about creepypasta, but thought it was just a food article about some weird cuisines and edible oddities. "I guess I just like creepy things," he said, returning to his seat. He sat down and read it over and over, just excited about this whole story he had made up. He didn't even listen to anyone else's story. He just wanted to get out of school and find out about this creepypasta stuff. English was luckily his final hour, and thanks to him reading the story, it had gone by very quickly. He hopped in his bike and rode home. It was eerie, to say the least. The clouds covered a majority of the sky, and it cast a strange gray shadow on everything. It made him feel uneasy and gave him a slight headache. His ride was interrupted by a loud pop. He quickly pulled over to investigate. "Shit, fuck!" he yelled in frustration. His tire had gone flat from what it would seem like as broken glass. Some asshole drunks throw their bottles on the sidewalk. Leave kids like me to clean it up, else this shit happens. He sighed. He didn't have a phone, so he couldn't call his parents and just get picked up, so that left walking. He sighed again. These things seemed to be common here, but it seemed like there was no sunset. It just went straight from gray to black in a matter of minutes. He could barely see anything, and half the streetlights were out. Really? City of Mesa can't take care of the city they're frickin' named after. He continued on a blind path, following what he thought was a sidewalk. It was deadly quiet out, even for a major street being outside. He could rarely hear the bark of a dog. Only 2 cars went by that he counted. No one walked the road that he was on, and he felt a sudden ping of isolation. He walked faster. He could feel the thing on his trail. He walked into a jog, carrying his bike by his side. It was closing in. He went from a jog to a slow run. He felt its breath on his neck. He sprinted as fast as he could for about 10 minutes. He hit the end of the street where it was better lit. He sighed with relief. "Frickin' stories got me too much on my toes," he laughed. "Maybe not," came a small, shrill voice from behind him. Nick spun to see a cloaked man holding a small paper. "Who?" His voice trailed off and cracked. "I'm just a little bit horrible," the thing said as a toothy grin crossed his face. Nick's face dropped in horror as he saw the thing dislocate its jaw.